Imagine you're walking through the woods, and you come face to face with a bear. Before you even have time to think, your heart is pounding, your breathing speeds up, and your muscles are prepared to run. This is your body's fight or flight response, and it doesn't happen by accident. It happens because of a tiny protein called the Beta-2 Adrenergic Receptor, built from a single gene tucked away inside your cells. Your autonomic nervous system is your body's automatic control center. It manages everything you never have to consciously think about, like your heartbeat, breathing, and digestion. It runs 24/7 without you ever having to lift a finger. And one of its most important jobs is maintaining homeostasis, keeping your body's internal conditions stable and balanced, no matter what's happening around you. One key division of the system is the sympathetic nervous system. When danger is detected, the brain sends signals down to the spinal cord to trigger the adrenal glands to dump adrenaline, also known as epinephrine, into the bloodstream. That adrenaline races through your body, looking for a place to bind. And that's exactly where my protein comes in. Inside every cell in your body is a complete copy of your entire genome, all of your DNA organized into 23 pairs of chromosomes. On the long arm of chromosome 5, at a location called 5q32, sits a gene called ADRB2. This gene holds the instructions for building the Beta-2 Adrenergic Receptor, the protein that will receive adrenaline's message. To build the Beta-2 Adrenergic Receptor, the cell first needs to copy the instructions. Inside the nucleus, a molecular machine called RNA polymerase binds to the ADRB2 gene and moves along the DNA, reading the sequence and building a complementary strand of messenger RNA, or mRNA, using complementary base pairing, where each nucleotide on the DNA matches a specific nucleotide on the growing mRNA strand. This process is called transcription. Before the mRNA is ready to leave, it gets processed. Non-coding sections called introns are cut out, and the sections called exons are joined together. A protective cap is added to one end, and a poly A tail is added to the other. Now the mRNA is mature and ready to carry its instructions out of the nucleus. The mature mRNA travels out of the nucleus through tiny gates called nuclear pores, entering the cytoplasm. It heads towards the rough endoplasmic reticulum, a folded membrane system covered in ribosomes, because the Beta-2 adrenergic receptor is a membrane-bound protein, meaning it needs to be built directly into a membrane. The mRNA attaches to a ribosome, the cell's protein-building machinery. The ribosome reads the mRNA 3 nucleotides at a time. Each trio of nucleotides is called a codon, and each codon matches a specific amino acid. Transfer RNA molecules, tRNA, carry those amino acids to the ribosome. Each tRNA has its own 3-letter sequence called an anticodon, which pairs with the matching codon on the mRNA. This is how the ribosome knows exactly which amino acid to add next. As the ribosome reads, the amino acids are linked together into a growing polypeptide chain. Multiple ribosomes can read the same mRNA at the same time, producing many copies of the protein at once. As the protein is built, it folds into a very specific shape. It snakes back and forth through the membrane 7 times. This is called a 7-transmembrane domain structure, and it's critical to how the protein works. The protein is then packaged by the Golgi apparatus and shipped in a small bubble called a vesicle to the outer cell membrane, where it becomes functional, sitting halfway inside the cell and halfway outside, waiting. Now back to the bear. Adrenaline is flooding your bloodstream. When an adrenaline molecule reaches a cell in your lungs, or heart, or blood vessels, it binds to the Beta-2 adrenergic receptor, fitting perfectly into the receptor's shape. When adrenaline binds, the receptor changes shape and activates a G protein sitting just inside the membrane. That G protein triggers an enzyme called adenylyl cyclase, which produces a signaling molecule called cAMP. cAMP then activates other proteins inside the cell, causing the smooth muscle to relax. The airway widens, blood vessels expand, and the heart gets the signal to beat faster and harder. But what makes the system so elegant is that it is self-regulating. Once the danger passes, adrenaline levels in the blood drop. With less adrenaline available to bind to ADRB2, the receptor becomes inactive. The parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest division, kicks in as a counterbalance, slowing the heart rate back down and returning the body to its normal resting state. The back and forth between the sympathetic and parasympathetic systems is a perfect example of the body maintaining homeostasis through a negative feedback loop. The molecular chain reaction isn't just happening in one cell, it's happening in millions of cells at the same time. The lungs open up to take in more oxygen, the heart pumps faster to deliver that oxygen to muscles. Blood is redirected away from digestion and towards your arms and legs. All of this happens within seconds of adrenaline finding its receptor. That's the fight-or-flight response, powered at the molecular level by ADRB2. And when ADRB2 doesn't work correctly, the consequences are real. In people with asthma, the airways become inflamed and narrow, making it hard to breathe. Many asthma inhalers like albuterol work by mimicking adrenaline and binding directly to ADRB2, forcing the airway muscles to relax. Some people even have genetic variants in the ADRB2 gene at 5q32 that make the receptor less responsive, which is why the same inhaler doesn't work equally well for every person. So the next time your heart pounds at something scary, remember where it all started. A gene on chromosome 5, copied into an mRNA message, translated by ribosomes into a protein, folded into a membrane, waiting for adrenaline to arrive. From one gene to a full-body survival response, the Beta-2 adrenergic receptor is proof that the smallest molecules can make the biggest difference.